Hey everyone, I'm Aideen T. Finnola. I am a life coach, a public speaker, and an author of my memoir, which is called My Exquisite Purple Life: Insights from a Woman Who Never Should Have Made It But Did. I want to thank you for joining me for another segment of my video blog. And today I want to talk about labels. And I want to talk about why I don't do labels. It's kind of a funny thing that we get into in our society, labeling ourselves, and I don't do it. It's not cool. Okay, fine. I probably slip up and do it every once in a while. But I'm not a big believer in labels. So I want to start with a story and share with you guys about a client of mine that came to me about a year ago. And this was in her very first session, and she sits down and we're talking, and I said, "Hey, what's going on and why are you interested, or what's brought you into life coaching?" And she said, "Well, I have an anger management problem." And I paused and I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but I don't do labels." And she said, "No, I have an anger management problem." And then she proceeded to spend the next 3 to 5 minutes regaling me with all of this evidence from her life to prove to me that she had an anger management problem. And I let her talk. And then when she finished, I said, "Okay, I hear you, but I'm sorry, I don't do labels." And she goes, "No, I have an anger management problem." And I said, "I don't do labels because if I agree with you that you have an anger management problem, what I'm doing is I am sewing that label onto your identity, and it makes it much more difficult to help you make changes. And it's very difficult to get that off when you have sewn that onto your identity. And furthermore, I'm not willing to see you through that label. If I agree with you that you have an anger management problem, then now I've put that in front of my vision and in front of seeing you. And so I'm going to see you through that label. And I just don't agree with that because it doesn't work. Now, what I do agree with is that you are having an experience that you are not enjoying, and that you envision an experience for yourself that you feel you would enjoy more. That I can help you with. That we can work on. And you guys, she lit up and her whole body relaxed. And I could tell that she was so relieved. And she was so relieved because her authentic self had never accepted that label, ever. It had not accepted that label. Her mind and her ego had believed it, but her authentic self had never accepted that label. Why? Because her authentic self was born into a state of original perfection, as we all are. And anytime we try and give ourselves negative labels, it offends our authentic self. And what it does is we are seeing, we're casting something in concrete when we do that. When I put a label on myself, I am casting something in concrete, and it makes it much, much more difficult for me to make changes. And the funny thing is, rarely do we label ourselves with things that are positive. So many of us suffer from really horrible inner critics and violent inner critics, and I talked about that in another episode of my vlog on how to handle your inner critic. But so often our inner critics will label us. You are a failure. You are undisciplined. You lack self-control. You are an overeater. You have, you whatever, all of these labels that we come up with, and I think in our society, in our culture, we're just so used to it and we're so accustomed to it. A couple of years ago, I was working with a realtor. I was in the middle of a move, and I was working with a realtor. And in the middle of this conversation, I was talking with the realtor one day, and in the middle of the conversation, I don't know, said something about bread, about eating bread or something like that. That must have been it. But she says to me, she goes, "Oh, I don't eat bread. I am celiac." And what? She didn't say, I have celiac disease. She didn't say, I have a digestive system that struggles with grains. She said, I am celiac. And that to me was such a fascinating experience. And of course, this is my realtor. It's not like I had a deep conversation with her. She wasn't one of my coaching clients. If she'd been one of my coaching clients, I totally would have called her on that. I've been like, wait, back up. You are celiac? What? But it was a really fascinating conversation because it just struck me in terms of how she had taken this label and sewn it on her identity. And we really can do a lot of damage for ourselves. One of the reasons why we do damage is because we give ourselves a perspective on ourselves and on our lives as a static perspective, a non-changing, non-transforming perspective. And when we're having experiences that we're not enjoying, we need to be able to change. We have a right to be able to change and do things differently when we are having experiences that we don't want to have, and when we're not having the experiences that we do want to be having. And so putting those labels on and acting like we're stuck, acting like this is who I am. I am depressed. I am I'm clinically depressed. I am mentally unstable, I am whatever. Now, I'm not saying that those experiences are not real. What I'm saying is we do ourselves a great disservice and we really, really shackle ourselves when we put it in terms of a label and we put it on our identity. So let me suggest to you some ways that you can handle it if you're listening to this and you realize, wow, gosh, I do that to myself a lot. I am angry. I am depressed. I am a cynical person. I'm cynical. I'm pessimistic, whatever. Just change the verbiage. And one of the other things that's incredibly powerful, you want to change the verbiage and make it a transitory, mutable thing. So not etched in stone, not poured in concrete, but something that is in flux. And even better, if you can put it in the past. So one of the things that I've learned to say is, I have had a history with being overweight in my life. I have had a history of being overweight. I'm not saying I am overweight or I have a problem, I have an eating disorder, I have a problem with food. I'm saying I have had a history in my life of weighing more than I would like to weigh. Guess what that means? I can change it. It's in the past. I've had a history of this, but I think I'll make a new future for myself. I've had a history of being short-tempered with my employees. That's not actually true about me. I'm just saying that. Anyway, that's not actually true about me. But what I'm saying is, I'm just giving that as an example. I have had a history of being impatient with my employees. I have had a history of being critical with my children. Any of those things, instead of saying, I'm a critical person, I'm a short-tempered person. So anyway, I just want to offer that to you. I want you to think about, how are you creating your own identity? I want you to look at your own identity. Look down and look. Do you have 25 labels that you've sewn onto yourself? If you do find all those labels, get out a pair of scissors and start snipping. Better yet, I would love to connect with you. This is one of the things that I really specialize in helping my clients to reclaim their lives. I would love to connect with you, and it would be my honor to hold space for you and to be your trail guide as you move from the experiences that you're currently having that you're not enjoying into creating experiences for yourself that you will enjoy, and the experiences that you've always dreamed of enjoying. So I want you to head over to my website. I want you to get on my scheduler and book a discovery call so that we can talk about life coaching. I want you to ask me all the questions you have, and I would love to be able to hear what's going on with you, how you'd like to reclaim your life, and I would be honored to hold that space for you. I'll see you next time. Bye.